My name is Nikki Hudson. I'm the Ward 11 Councilwoman. We are in Ward 11 right now, and we're very lucky to be hosted by Corinne, who owns this really super cool neighborhood establishment, Spotlight Cleveland. Spotlight, they have live music every night of the week. Sometimes you have a comedy show, is that right? Open night. I'm going to let Corinne speak about Spotlight to get us started.
Hi everybody, welcome to Spotlight. This is my partner, Jen Newby. Hi Jen. We stumbled across this little property in the middle of the pandemic and just felt like we could make something really special out of it. So that's what Spotlight Cleveland is now. We've been open for just over 3 years now. It's made to put a spotlight directly on the art and the music and the food and the talent that is born and emanating out of Cleveland. So we do have all the music you listen to, all the music you ever hear on the speakers has a Cleveland connection. Even, Tracy Chapman you just heard. Like, we only play local music. We only really program local music 7 nights a week for over 3 years, sometimes 2 shows a day of local entertainment. We have an open mic comedy show every Tuesday. Our beer list represents as many of the local breweries as we could find, and the menu kind of represents a heritage of Midwest comfort food presented through whatever lens we can give it to you. We open every single night at 7 p.m. except Sunday is we open earlier. We do kind of like a backyard sing-along thing that starts at 5 o'clock and sometimes goes till well after dark. And feel free to check out our reviews on Google. People really seem to love it. It's become more special than I could have even planned for. And I would invite any of our neighbors to come during our regular hours, meet the community that's built up around Spotlight, try the food. It's really it's not cuisine, but it's quality and it's very affordable, and that is just what we're going for, is to keep it simple. We are open today a little bit early for you, so if you want to check it out after the meeting, see the menu, Caitlin's in there, and we put some coffee and some coffee cups out if you guys want to help yourself after the meeting. Wednesday night ends up being one of our busiest nights. That's the Rock and Blues Jam, where musicians from all over the city come and just meet in new configurations, and sometimes people form new bands that way. It's been, like I said, beyond what you could plan for when you create an environment that fosters that type of community and creativity. So we're really lucky to share that with you.
We're lucky to have you in the neighborhood, Corinne.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Corinne?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. And we have a few other guests tonight. The first one we have is Elias Nader. He's a PhD and graduate research assistant at Kent State University, and he's doing a resident survey about CPD, Cleveland Department of Police. So, Elias, would you mind introducing yourself and then speaking about what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, so my name is Elias Nader. I'm here with Kent State University. I've got 2 students here with me, Esther and Priscilla as well. We have a partnership with the City of Cleveland's Police Accountability Team. Basically what we're doing at the start of this partnership essentially is collecting residents' opinions on police, public safety, common problems in their neighborhoods. And so we've got a bunch of flyers here with the QR code that links to that survey. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes to complete the survey. The goal of this project essentially is to start building this kind of foundation of understanding of Cleveland residents, where they stand in terms of their relationship with the police for the city. The hope is that we'll be able to take this information and help build a sort of intervention for the police department to help them essentially work on how they build trust with Cleveland residents, and then come back next summer, do some additional data collection, and kind of keep that path rolling. We are in the survey phase now. We're going to be following up next month with some focus groups as well. We're trying to target all the neighborhoods of Cleveland, so you may have seen us around at events so far, might see us around again. That's kind of the quick spiel of it all. I'm happy to take questions about what's going, about the project, what's on the survey, if you guys have those, but if you guys want to start passing out flyers, if anybody's interested in that, let me know. We'll be hanging out after the meeting as well. We've got paper copies and iPads that we can give the survey on. If you'd like to take it here, we can do that after the meeting with you, or the QR code, you can do it from your phone at your convenience. Yeah, again, we're just trying to collect resident opinions of police, of public safety issues in the community, and trying to feed that information back to the city and other stakeholders within Cleveland that are invested in kind of addressing issues of public safety and police trust and accountability. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So what is the timeline for your whole process, and what is it going to look like in terms of sharing the results of your surveys with the community?
Great question. So in terms of the timeline for the project, we're collecting survey data through kind of the end of the summer, and then we'll be starting focus groups next month into like September, October-ish. Our goal essentially is to wrap up the kind of data collection and analysis in the fall semester. You know, we're in school, so we operate by the semesters. We'll share our results aggregated as a report that'll be publicly available on Penn State's website, but we'll also obviously be giving it to the city and then sending it to other stakeholders that we've been kind of in contact with throughout the process. So all the council people, for example, will get an email that'll have that report in it, and we'll, you know, if wanted, come back around to the city and present those results out. The idea is that then during the school year, we'll work on kind of building this workshop series of interventions that can help train the police in some of these trust building and conflict management structures that can help them to kind of build those skills around trust building in the city.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Who are the other stakeholders other than council that you're submitting these results to?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Who are the other stakeholders that you're submitting these results to?
Yeah,
and is this being funded by any other entities other than Kent State?
Yeah, great question. So the other stakeholders is kind of a building list, right? So we've reached out to a lot of local groups, churches in the area, all of the council people, each of the districts and their community policing groups, and so we've got kind of a running list of places we've been in contact with that we plan to essentially email out and share with. Obviously, we'll try and get it in the hands of news media as well, so that way it can be shared out as widely as possible. In terms of funding, we have a pilot grant essentially from Penn State University's Community Engaged Research Institute. That's basically funding our students that are here and being able to do the work. We don't have any other funding at the moment, and not planning on like taking any funding from the city, for example, to do this work. Yes, sir.
So what is the length of time that this survey can be done, and your focus group? When are you going to disseminate all the information from that? And when does it go to the police entity first, and it goes to the mayor's office and there, or, you know, how's that going to be done?
We will be conducting data collection through about September or October. So we'll be continuing to collect data throughout that point. Our goal then is during that fall semester, so sometime in November, December, have that report completed and shared out. We're not necessarily going to like prioritize getting it in someone's hands first, but it's probably going to take me a few days to send out all those emails. Probably everyone will get that kind of email blast around the same time. So council people will be getting it probably around the same time that the city is getting it and that each of the police districts are getting it.
To tie to the Are we still under the decree that was established?
Yeah, the decree is still happening. This is not really related to that process, but obviously part of the charge of the decree includes the police kind of working to establish that trust and build that trust with the community. And so hopefully the decree is kind of one thing that this survey can help inform progress towards.
Thank you.
What is the decree you're talking about?
The federal consent decree is what he was referencing that the Cleveland Division of Police is under.
Okay.
So the Cleveland Division of Police has been under the federal consent decree for a little over a decade, I think, which means that they have a federal judge and monitor that is observing them and then requiring them to achieve, certain requirements.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Any other questions? Does anybody still need a flyer that didn't get one? Okay, again, we'll be hanging out for the meeting. We'll be here afterwards if you're interested in taking a survey with us today. If not, feel free to scan that QR code and share out with anyone. You have to be 18 years old in order to take the survey, and you need to be a resident of the city of Cleveland. So those are the only two stipulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elias. And next on the agenda, we have Tawana Harris and Tony Allen from the city's building and housing department, and they're going to talk about the rental registration process for the city of Cleveland. Thank you so much for coming. And I have a microphone. It's up to you if you're good with using your outside voice or if you want to use the microphone.
I think I got a loud voice. Can y'all hear me? How y'all doing this evening? Good evening. Okay, I am Tony Allen, and as she said, we are from the Department of Building and Housing. I am the administrative manager of the department, and Tawana Harris here just got promoted today to department, so she's going to be doing most of the talking because she's in training. But we are here basically to talk about the rental registration program within the Department of Building and Housing, which has been enhanced from if any of you are landlords or know any landlords or tenants or know any tenants, that process has been enhanced since the beginning of time. So in 2024, with the new administration, we did enhance the rental registration program, and there's a few more requirements that's now involved with the rental registration program, which Tawana is going to address. But if you also have any other questions, because we both work in records administration for the city of Cleveland, and that department is also responsible for vacant property registration, certificate of occupancies, certificate of disclosures, plans and the retention process, and a whole host of other ancillary responsibilities that involves records within the Department of Building and Housing. So once she gets done with her presentation, if you have any questions about any of those processes, feel free to ask us. We also, like I said, the Department of Building and Housing consists of 3 subdivisions: the code enforcement, the permit construction division, and then the administration division, which Tawana and I are part of that division. So feel free to ask any questions regarding any of those other divisions or processes once she gets done with her presentation. You did the presentation. No, you're doing rental registration. So she's going to tell you about rental registration.
Basically, our rental properties in the city of Cleveland have to be registered. It's due each year in March. It's $70 per unit. For properties with 4 units or above, you have to have what you call the HVAC certification. So that means a certified technician has to come out and inspect the property. A local agent charges for properties whose owners are outside of Ohio. So with the local agent, you have to have it's called a local agent. So you have to have someone here within Cuyahoga County or one of our contiguous counties, which is Summit, Portage, Medina, and
Mahoney is one. I can't remember what the other 5. It's five of them, but it's on the website. So also, You can also visit the City of Cleveland Resident First website if you want additional information regarding those counties that's within the surrounding neighborhood.
And all properties that was built before 1978 has to have a lead safe certification. We don't do that part, that's public health, but we're kind of familiar with it. And basically, that's none of the stuff.
No, going above.
The utilities. Oh, and you have to upload one of your utilities: gas bill, light bill, water bill, or sewer bill. And that's only if you pay those bills, as far as the property owner is concerned, not the tenant.
I think she's a little bit nervous. And now, if you don't have all your required documents, you can still register and pay the $70 per unit, and then you can come back once you get your documents afterwards. You would not receive a certificate of proving rental occupancy until you have met all the requirements associated with the rental registration program, which is really now, it has been renamed to now owner occupied residential registry, meaning that if the owner does not reside in the property, they are still required to pay the $70 per year per unit. At one time, if they had family members or friends or whatever, and they'll say we're not collecting anything of value, and then that exempt them from the $70 per unit. That is no longer the case with the new rental registration program. If the owner does not reside there, it does not matter. He's not accepting or getting anything of value, or if it's a family member, they are still required to register and pay the $70 per unit.
Some people get it confused with like two families or triplets, and that's 3 DUs, 3 dwelling units. You can stay in that unit, but you will still be responsible for paying for the other, either 1 unit or 2 units.
So an owner cannot come if they have a 3 unit and say I live in all 3 units. You only can exempt 1 unit. Any questions regarding, that was it, basically a high level overview of the rental registration process in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions regarding that process?
I have a question. When there have been constant nuisance calls about a property, what happens in that when owners decide they want to continue to rent? Is there a certain limit of nuisance calls that can be made about the property? I was waiting for all that, man. Okay, the idea is with nuisance properties, are they allowed to continue to rent when there is a certain amount of nuisance calls about that property?
It depends on what our citation is. Now, if the unit is unsafe and it creates hazardous condition, and the inspector has come out and they did the inspection and they deemed this property as unsafe and hazardous, they will issue, or the building official will issue a vacate, meaning that the tenants have to vacate the premises. So it depends on the condition of the property. When you say nuisance, this is extreme nuisance, no water, and it's just unlivable,
No.
and it should not be habitable.
Dealing with the tenants that live on the property, for example.
So I think, Preston, what you're talking about is the city's new nuisance abatement law.
Yes.
So if there are 5 or more calls within a year, qualifying calls, so nuisance activity, and they have to be loud music. It could be criminal activity, could qualify as nuisance activity. So you have to have 5 of those calls, and it doesn't have to necessarily be where somebody's arrested. It just has to be where the nuisance activity was confirmed to have happened.
Okay.
And so if there are 5 of these confirmed nuisance activities within a year, then the owner of the property will first be issued a warning letter where they are given an opportunity to abate the nuisance. And then if they do not, then they will start accruing fines for each additional, if they don't respond, then they'll start accruing fines. And if they then continue to have activities, nuisance activities at their properties, then they'll continue to accrue fines. For example, there's an apartment building that the very first night, it was the night that I was sworn into council. I was given a handwritten note because my phone wasn't set up yet, my voicemail wasn't set up yet, and I was given a handwritten note about some really concerning activity in an apartment building in Ward 11, and set up a meeting with the residents the next day. And I reached out to, his name is Sergeant Lanton. He's an officer at this Cleveland Police Department who handles calls for service. So I reached out to him to see if there were enough calls for service. Well, there were more than enough calls for service to this apartment building. So they issued a nuisance letter to the property owner, and then they didn't respond. So the property owner just, didn't respond at all. And so they've been accruing fines since March, and those fines, they will get tacked on to the property owners, to the property tax bill. And now they're up to $10,000. So it starts at $100 a day, but it does add up over time, and I'm sure it will get their attention. They have a property manager who is also not responding. But if you dig, the actual owner of the property lives in Israel. This is why the residents' first law is so important, to have somebody local that you can reach out to. And it's new, not every property is in compliance yet, but we're getting there. But it's situations like that where you have people who don't even live in the country that are owning properties in our city. It's a huge problem. It's something that we deal with in our office every single day. Sometimes multiple times a day, where we're dealing with out of state, out of country property owners. There's one just down the street here that Paula and I have been dealing with since before I was in office. 9212 Madison. That was owned. Somehow it was split up into condominiums. So there were 15 separate Turkish owners of 9212 Madison. And I was particularly infuriated because they had pristine billboards on the side of the building, but the building itself had, boarded up windows and garbage, being thrown out, and it was a nightmare. And the first thing Paula and I attend, it's called the Problem Properties meeting, where there's people from building and housing, there's people from the legal department of the city of Cleveland, the police come.
Has status changed at all?
It has. So they condemned it because there were people squatting in the building. So they condemned it, which forced them to do the vacate order for the building because it was not safe for anybody to be in that building. It also stopped the revenue stream from the billboards because you cannot have a billboard on a condemned building. And then the property owner has since consolidated all of the units, so now we just have one entity, thank you. One entity that owns the building instead of 15, and we are working with them to hopefully find a buyer that will rehab the building, because it's buildings like that, you don't want to see them demolished. It has potential, but as it is now, it's a huge drain on the community. Right. And then unfortunately, it's not like that's the only one.
Less crash and less drug activity. So maybe that's progress.
And then the having an active business next door definitely helps. That the property owner is opening the daycare next door. But I hate to say it, but there are things like that going on all over the city, and that's why we have the Problem Properties group to meet, because it takes everybody working together. It's not just one one department's problem. It's, it takes everybody, especially when you have a situation like that.
And then also, we're also working on a lot of our laws and revamping a lot of the laws and the codes within the city of Cleveland, because a lot of the laws, the codified orders was implemented neon years ago, probably before many of us was born, and they haven't been changed over the years. So we're also working on revising a lot of the codes so that we can have deliver some of the limitations that we have experienced in the past.
It is the building and housing department. There's so much work to do across the city, and so my hat goes off to you for everything that you all deal with, and also that you're working towards finding solutions. The residents, the first law, the vacant property registry, all of these things are moving us in the right direction. Before we had that, we didn't really have any tools to try to, go after these negligent property owners. And it is going to take time, but at least we're getting there.
Yes. You had a question.
So, when buildings or houses are certified, isn't part of the certification supposed to have a safe way out? We live next door to a converted, one family that's been converted to a two-family. The only way in and out for the second floor is in the back, going up the steel steps. There's no other exit for that apartment. Is that a violation of the code?
Is that you said is it an illegal conversion? What you're saying?
Well, we don't
have a
know.
proper
We
means of egress?
think that they were grandfathered in. We are not for sure. But the property has been a nuisance for the last 15 years, plain and simple. We've lived there for 15 years. We knew the original owner. He died. The girlfriend was trying to scam all the tenants. And then a woman, the B-movie star, bought the property, and the first thing she moved in there was a drug dealer, and she looked at me like I was crazy, and then she sat in the driveway and she saw what was going on. She put him out. And then there was another gentleman who bought it sight unseen online from Israel. And when he got here, he didn't know the workings. He got tricked by some woman driving the car with a for sale sign and all that. She eventually got arrested, but he put the property up for sale. And now there's somebody else that owns the property. It's just, we've had nothing but issues from top to bottom.
Let me ask you this. Have you called that into 311?
We've been calling about that property
The
since.
311. The reason I'm saying that, because 311, that's the mechanism that we have implemented, because it tracks and it records all the call in, and it tracks the service time as well.
Well, I have called 311.
Okay.
As I understand, there were 23 nuisance calls on the property, was it last year? And all of them were viable, and the paperwork was sent to the owner, who ignored it. So we don't know.
Okay, let me take, I'll get that address for you.
Okay.
And then I will send it over to the code enforcement section tomorrow.
Okay.
To follow up. First, I'll look and see what's going on with it.
Okay.
And then I'll have the one, send it over to the code enforcement so they can follow up with it. Because once you call it in with 311, it's tracked and it's monitored, so we can keep a record of what's going on with it. So that's why it's very important for all of you. When you have an issue with the property in your community, call it in to 311, because that's how we track and we monitor the properties and make sure that there is responsive follow-up and that things are getting taken care of in a proper time frame.
Okay.
So I'll get that property address from you.
All right.
And as far as the sale, that's where the certificate disclosure process come in, because anytime there's a transfer of real property within the city of Cleveland, and that's all commercial, industrial, and residential, they're supposed to get the certificate of disclosure. And the certificate of disclosure actually outlines the legal use of the property and the code and conservation history of the property. And that is mandatory.
Okay.
So I will get that information from you.
I got a question. My name is Noah Rodriguez. My address is 2034 West 81st. We reside there for the last 60 years, and I have seen the neighborhood change, totally, completely change, but not for the best, but for the worse. We have houses there that boarded up. As a matter of fact, there's one over there that was a crime committed there, 2024, because they used to, excuse the language, they used to use those misters, or whores, whatever you want to call them, all come into the house. We called everybody downtown, and they showed it off. They didn't say nothing about it until someone got killed. Then when someone got killed, that's when they start acting up. Because I have no idea how many inspectors the city of Cleveland has, but every time I call, they tell you they don't have one available. So what kind of a city is this? 60 years ago, you see the inspector all over the place, checking. On my street, people don't fix the ladders, people don't cut the grass, people park on the sidewalk, people block the driveways. You see, because some of my children are police officers, and when I don't get any response, I call them to come and take care of it. So we need to change all this. We need people to come together and complain every time they see something wrong.
Exactly.
In my neighborhood, we made a special driveway for the children so the bus could come in and drop the kids at that particular spot. My cousin did one on her side also. But sometimes the buses don't do that. So we need more people that focus on this problem because these problems are going from bad to worse. Bad to worse. And then at night time, all you hear is people shooting and people fighting. Because I could see it with my cameras. So we need to stop that, not for us. I'm an old lady and I'm almost gone, but for the new generation that is coming. Because the City Hall don't see that. I'm honest. I'm a former precinct committee person for over 50 years. But I gave it up, but I still am a community leader. And it's a shame. When I call, they tell me, oh, we don't have an inspector. They can come over. And don't blame it on the police because my daughter, she's a police officer. She's hired a police officer in Brooklyn. No one wants to come through. $45 an hour. If I was much younger, I'll take the job. Because I'm not afraid to fight. I'm not afraid to go in front of the judges and tell the truth. I'm not. Because I want a better neighborhood for my children and for the elderly. Because there's no respect. Every time you could hear something when the police does something wrong, everybody knows about it. But when they do something good, nobody knows about it. And when people are in trouble, who do they call? They call the police, they don't call nobody else.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I can't speak for the police department, but as far as the house that's a nuisance or an issue or has violation, we can definitely get that address for that and then escalate that and see what's going on with that.
So how many city inspectors will the city of Cleveland have?
We have, I want to say roughly like maybe 100.
100?
Yeah, probably somewhere near 100 inspectors.
That's really?
And you know, the truth of the matter is, no matter how many inspectors we have, we can have 1 billion inspectors.
Yes.
And the Cleveland is so huge. And unfortunately, the city of Cleveland, I live in the city of Cleveland as well, so I understand what you're going through. And like your councilwoman said, it's unfortunately, it's not just isolated in this ward. I live in Councilman Felicity Ward. I don't know what that new word is now.
Ward 10 now. Ward 10.
Okay. And we are experiencing some of the same issues as well. So it's all over the city of Cleveland, and unfortunately, it has been going on in the city of Cleveland for a very long time. And as your councilwoman said, we're making strides to correct these problems, these challenges, these situations. It's going to take us time. It's going to take us time. We want it to all happen overnight because I know I do. Like I said, I live in Cleveland too, so I experience some of the same concerns that you do. But we are working towards improving our city and revitalizing our city. And I'm determined it's going to happen in my lifetime.
I got another question. Whatever goes out, the sidewalks, is that the homeowner's responsibility or is the city? I saw a young lady in a wheelchair. She tripped over the broken block and she got hurt.
In front of the house?
And I went to help her. And she was crying and she was bleeding. So we need to take care of those things to let the public know if there's a responsibility or if it's the city. Because
I want,
So the side, if you want to replace your sidewalk, the city has a 50-50 program because technically it's the homeowner's responsibility. But the city does have a program where they'll split it with you. You can apply and get on the list where they'll split it with you. But the city also does have a new program where they'll come out and shave off areas like you're saying, so that where they can like sand down or shave off a trip hazard, level it out, so that you don't have to replace the whole sidewalk.
They did that.
So if that's in front of your house, like I could probably reach out to the Bureau of Sidewalks and have them come out and look at that, and then perhaps it's fixable without having to dig everything up and replace it. I think the city can come check it out.
You can see where they did it on our sidewalk on
Did they smooth it
87th
out?
over here. Yeah, there's a spot where
Nice.
they ground it down because it was like it was sticking up like an inch.
I mean, sometimes it's, and, the sidewalk's not broken or anything, so it doesn't
Right,
need to
it,
be
it
replaced.
just heaved,
Right.
and it just heaved. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah.
So all these various requests and various issues, are you saying call 311 no matter what so that it's documented?
yes,
'Cause-
that's
And my
the-
question is, do certain issues need a certain number of calls in order to get action, or does everything action?
No, you can either call 311 and it's not based on how many complaints per prompt or whatever. And you can also call or you can email them. I thought I had or you can also email 311. Yeah, email them on the website. Or do your online
I
request.
just wanted to know if
Yes.
volume mattered.
No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
We wish it was a low volume, but no, volume does not matter. That's why I say it's so important. That's how we track it. So if you never call 311, we'll see it, we'll hear about it, but that gives us that visible picture of what's going on within our community with the property and how many times it has been called in. A lot of times we use that for court. When we go to court with property, we could go to 311, have them pull a report, and it'll show, look, this property, they called in this property 100 times.
Right.
So that helps us even in the court as well.
So that's why I would say to my neighbors here, just because your neighbor called it in once, don't be afraid to call it in again.
Yeah.
Because it documents it and it gives us leverage in
Yes.
court.
Yes.
I also wanted to, Paula reminded me, we brought these booklets here. They're quality of life booklets, and they have, ordinances in here. There's the nuisance, property nuisance, there's curfew, illegal dumping, parking and abandoned cars. So just some information if you're interested in.
I got another question. What about those houses that they're boarded up? There's one on our street, 2063. That house used to be a beautiful house. Beautiful. And now it's nothing but a shack. People go over there, they drink, they shoot at the air, the house is completely destroyed. Let's put it that way. They boarded up, they came back and they took the walls out.
So that's a house that should be reported to 311. And then, if it's open, if it's not secured, then the building and housing department has somebody that will come out and secure it, make sure that it's not open to entry so that people can't get in the property. But also then we can reach out to the property owner or their local agent in charge and make sure that they're maintaining the property, that they're cutting the grass, that there aren't any other nuisance activities happening at the property, and that way we can keep an eye on it and make sure that it's not getting worse. And if it needs to be condemned, then that'll be part of the process. And then if it continues, then eventually it'll unfortunately get demolished. But sometimes that's the best thing. A lot of times that is unfortunately the best result we can hope for is for some of these properties to be demolished.
There's a lot of people that they need housing. Why don't they establish a program where they could give it to these people with the responsibility of buying the house and making sure they live there, and then they're going to do the repairs. So they don't have to send it to the LLC
No, I agree. I don't want to see properties go to the LLC.
Years back, if you were a resident, you wasn't allowed to buy any houses. And don't tell me any different because I'm almost 90 years old and I lived there too long to know everything about that neighborhood. And I don't intend to go anywhere.
That's great.
You shouldn't buy a house if you don't live
You shouldn't.
And you look great for 90. You're not 90. You're not 90, are you? Yes, you is.
Okay, I just wanted to give. Sorry, go ahead.
They don't have a place to live, you know? They live in my house with the condition that
A
they're
bit
gonna
of
keep
feedback
that
on
promise.
311,
They didn't say
but I'll
that
wait for her.
that they're gonna live there, they're gonna do the repairs and the neighborhood. Because when you're in a house, you care, but when you rent,
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. What was your question?
I just wanted to give a bit of feedback on 311. Remember the bike shop that got torn down in the other ward?
Oh, Fredericks?
Yeah. So I kept calling because I walked by all the time and I kept seeing it buckle more and more.
Yeah.
And 311 was very dismissive and they were just saying, we already have reports on that. And I had to scream on the phone and say, I understand, but I'm telling you it's getting worse and it will collapse. And the first call, they didn't actually take a report from me. So that's just a bit of feedback on like, yeah, maybe you have a report, but things could get worse. So just because there's a report, 311 should still take another report.
No, I agree with you. And just what I often suggest is to report online and include photos, because the photos they speak volumes, especially like with the situation at Fredericks, which and it breaks my heart to see a historic building like that. But about a week before Fredericks was partially demolished, there was a brick row home right by where I live, Dindia Terrace. 8707 Detroit. It's 16 units, and one of them, on a beautiful sunny day like today, no wind, no storms, they've been sitting vacant for many years, and one of them was fire damaged, so there was water getting in through the roof. It spontaneously collapsed at about 5:30 in the evening, and immediately next to where these vacant row homes are, they back up to low-income housing for families, where over 100 children live. And so I lived right there. I was on site very quickly, and then I was sent a video of the townhome when it collapsed. And what was super disturbing to me, after you see the bricks and the pile of rubble, I saw a huge group of kids not running from, but running towards it. And it was just horrific. And I'm sure, because it's the same people who were making the decision about Fredericks, and I sent them the video of the collapse. It was Glenn Murray, Tasir Hamdallah. I know that they were thinking about what happened at 8707 Detroit when they made the decision at Fredericks, because you have to keep the public safe. You don't want to destroy historic buildings, but at the same time, you don't want, somebody's negligent property to kill somebody. But and photos. That was my other.
And they also give you a tracking number. So
That's
always
right.
keep
That's
your
right.
tracking number. If you have to call as many times as you like, keep all the tracking numbers.
Oh, so they should give you another tracking number.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, because I agree with what you're saying. Where I've called to the I can get that. I can get that. Yeah, but I was getting the same answer.
You will get the crazy.
There's nothing wrong with being a pest. It means that you want to live in a nice neighborhood, and I also agree with Ms. Rodriguez. We need to all work together. We all live in Cleveland. We all live in Ward 11, or whatever your ward or your neighborhood is, and that's how we make a nice place to live, is by working together. And many voices are stronger than one.
Could I ask you a question? How long does it take if you put a complaint in for somebody's? I sent the picture to you.
And I got those people because it's
I sent it to you. They said Joseph told me to let him know. I guess because it's right.
Unfortunately, we cannot give out legal advice, but it sounds like a civil issue. Because if his dad has a right to be there, yeah, so we can, unfortunately, I'm going to contact legal aid. Yeah, legal aid society, yeah. Yeah, contact me, and I don't have any information with me, but you can contact legal aid. Yeah, they can give you consultation is free. So yeah, they can contact them and let them know what you're doing. So they can.
They used to come to the house and sit with us.
That was my goal.
And at this point, like, it's trespassing. Well, if you don't let him in, you have a problem.
I'm telling you, everybody does.
He's a dad.
Everybody.
So then he could call the police because that's trespassing.
Yeah, everybody.
Even if it is his children. So if you don't want them there, yes.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah,
yes, that's what we say. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly. That's what we say.
Well,
thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank you. Okay.
And I have one more guest. We have Yariel Camacho. He's the field rep for Congresswoman Chantel Brown. And I really appreciate him coming very short notice. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me in the back? Perfect. Good afternoon. My name is Yariel Camacho. I serve as one of the field representatives for Congresswoman Chantel Brown's office. I'm also a casework. My portfolio includes immigration, Department of Justice. Oh, I'm blanking now. Immigration, Department of Justice, military, veteran affairs, and Department of War. So if any of you guys need any assistance with any federal agencies, such as receiving your tax returns, if you have any problems getting a passport, if you have any visa issues, know anyone who are having any issues with federal agencies, if you guys want to call our office to leave your opinion, those get elevated up to the Congresswoman. As a field representative, I serve as the eyes and ears for the Congresswoman in certain wards, certain cities in her district when she's in DC voting. So feel free. I'm going to stick around for a little bit more. I want to let the Councilwoman take over here and share any final remarks. But I have business cards, so if any of you guys need anything, any assistance, if you want our attendance at any event, we could attempt to either get the Congresswoman there, or we can get someone from the office to attend who will then report back to the Congresswoman, let them know what we found. All the comments you guys are saying now, I'm taking into consideration. I've been taking notes. Of course, we work at the federal level, but if we see any patterns of repetition when it comes to, for instance, these 311 calls or anything else relating to building and housing code, we elevate this to the Congresswoman so she can let us know whether we need to be communicating with anyone, whether the federal government needs to, take a look at anything, or if we need to bring anyone out, we could also do that. Feel free to catch me. I'll be standing in the back. If you want to talk, if you need any assistance with federal agencies, I'll also stand in the back. I'll give you my contact information, and we can get that ball rolling as well. I gave you what my portfolio is, but I can do anything you guys need. If I don't have the answer, then I can find you the answer, or point you to a better point of contact who will better assist you in finding those answers. Thank you all.
Thank you. So I'm not sure where we are on time. I just wanted to give a couple of quick updates. I don't know if you all are following Fire Station 23. So before I was on council, me and a group of neighbors, some of them are here tonight, we were protesting a gas station that was proposed at the corner of Madison and West Boulevard, and that fight kind of shifted to not fighting against a gas station, but fighting for a fire station at the corner of Madison and West Boulevard. And this summer, there are 3 pieces of legislation needed in order to, so I jumped ahead a little bit. The city was trying to negotiate with the property owners to purchase the property so that they can put the fire station there. And the property owners were kind of dragging their feet, so the city decided to move forward with eminent domain. So there are three steps as part of the eminent domain process that city council has to take. The first one was in June, which was a purchase ordinance which authorized the city to buy the property, and so that passed in June. And then just last week, there was a resolution that passed at our council meeting. We had committee of the whole, which led into our July summer council meeting. And so our resolution to acquire 10022 Madison by eminent domain passed. It was not unanimous, it was 14-1, but I'm still happy. And then the city is still continuing to negotiate with the property owners. If they don't come to an agreement by August, then there will be the final third step before the city proceeds with eminent domain, unless we don't reach an agreement. Some of you may have seen the streets that are being resurfaced in Ward 11. Some of them have already started. There are others that are about to be started. Over here, Willard Avenue is the big one. So Willard from West 85th to West 98th is going to be resurfaced. And it's also going to get speed tables. We have, I think, 4 speed tables on Willard. Every street that made sense, we are putting speed tables on this year. This is the first year that council members had the option to add speed tables as part of their resurfacing plan. And every street that's being resurfaced in Ward 11 is also getting speed tables. In the southern part of the ward, West 58 between Memphis and Shadyside is getting resurfaced, and we'll have 2 speed tables. West 84th from Clark to Denison is also being resurfaced, and we'll have speed tables. West 80th from Madison to Lorraine is being resurfaced. And I also am meeting with traffic engineers, and we're working on figuring out a way to add speed tables to other streets. If the street needs to be resurfaced, we don't want to put speed tables on them because then they'd have to be kind of like dug up. But if the street's been recently resurfaced and is in reasonably good shape, I'm open to putting speed tables just about everywhere. On Muriel's on my list. I wanted to, Muriel and Clybourne, I wanted to resurface them, but there's utility work coming up, and so unfortunately I couldn't do it this year. It is terrible. I understand.
Nikki.
Yes.
Are you familiar with those speed bumps on West 81st?
Yes.
Whose decision was to
they
place...
put them in the wrong place?
Exactly. Whose decision was to put them...
I don't know, but possibly the traffic engineers. Yeah, I'll come and check them out. I've driven over them lots of times, but I didn't really think about their placement.
Because they needed to come around and talk to the neighbors. The neighbors are very upset. Very, very upset because...
That's a good point.
Because now since they have the speed bumps, no one makes a stop sign. They figure that the speed bumps, that's a stop sign. So they stop there, they pick up speed, and they go down to Madison. It would be a good idea if maybe they make a one-way going the other way. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's it. I'll
say
check that out.
the 60 years is a long time.
It's a lot of knowledge you have about West 81st Street.
You know, that used to be overbuilt. The street there used to be overbuilt. And the houses there, they're over 100 years old. But you know, they're not going to go any place. They're very, very solid.
They are solid. Our houses are old, but they're good bones. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for me? Michael?
on traffic, do you have any updates regarding the plan to convert Shoreway downtown into Boulevard? And have there been any studies done to show how that might impact the traffic in our neighborhoods?
I don't have any updates, but I will reach out and see if there are any updates and get back to you. I'm not on council's transportation committee, so they might have information that I don't. I think I'm on every other committee. No, I'm not on DPS either, but I'll reach out and see if I can get an update for you. Yes?
So there's a vacant lot on 74th in Detroit. It used to be a school.
Oh, yeah.
And then that got demolished a couple years ago. And I think then handed over to a developer. And that, is there any update on what's going on with that? It's been 3 or 4 years and nothing's happened.
So that's the Watterson Lake site at West 74th in Detroit. It is still owned by CMSD. So the Cleveland Metropolitan School District still owns the Watterson Lake site. I just heard from them last week that they are in the process of transferring it to the city of Cleveland. So the land should be transferred sometime in the next 120 days is what they told me. There was a developer that was chosen to build a pretty large affordable housing complex there. Unfortunately, because of the clawback of greenhouse gas funds, that project does not look like it's going to happen. They tried to close their funding gap, but I don't see how it's going to happen. So what will likely happen is the city will have to put out a new RFQ, which is a request for proposals for the site, and the process will start all over. So new developers will be able to submit their proposals for the land, and then the city can decide which one is the best, and hopefully choose one that actually follows through and happens this time. I will say that personally, with the site that large and with the things that are going on in the neighborhood, my office would only support affordable housing on that site because of all of the other development that's been happening in the area. There's a lot of gentrification going on. There's the new Shoreway Tower that's going up. And housing is great. Any form of housing we need, but we also need to make sure that there are affordable options so that people can stay in our neighborhood. I know the prices in my neighborhood have started to rapidly increase. It's already been going on in other parts of Detroit Shoreway. Makes me very, very nervous for my elderly neighbors who are on fixed income. A lot of renters. I've already seen people being displaced on my street. So I would only support affordable housing on that site. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions?
So with all of the talk about eliminating or greatly reducing property taxes in the state of Ohio, is the city council trying to come up with alternative ways to be able to still fund our necessary services like schools? Should that come through?
I mean, so that's really hard to do on the city level because property taxes, it's a county thing and a state issue. I think a lot of the funding challenges that our city schools face actually start at the state level. The way that the state funds public schools, it was found to be illegal 25 years ago, and it still is the same way. So we're still funding public schools using property taxes in an illegal manner, and that is why the Cleveland Metropolitan School District doesn't have the money. It's why our property taxes have been increasing astronomically. It's why they keep coming back to us for tax levies. because they don't have enough money. It's because they're not getting the money they need from the state of Ohio. It is something that we talk about, at City Council, but it's also something that we don't have a lot of power to control. I mean, we can certainly advocate for people in Columbus to do the right thing, for the right, the right people to people who have that that funding ideal to be elected into office. I don't know. I do know that the way that we're funding our public schools is obviously not working. And for the city, it's just hard because I don't know like what I can do as a city council person other than advocate for others to do the right thing. Is there another question over here?
Chantel's office to take back.
That is a state issue.
I can send you off the top of my head. It is West 91st between Desmond and Detroit. West 81st. I'm sorry, West 80th between Madison and Lorraine. Willard between West 85th and West 95th. West 71st, south of Clark. West 84th. You're on my street, right? Yeah. So I feel really bad for people who live on my street because I know and there were, Paula and I just met with the traffic calming people, and I lots of people put in, I hope that we qualify for speed tables on West 89th Street without me doing it, because I feel like if I do it, people are gonna be like, oh, I see what you did. You put speed tables on your own street, And so I'm conflicted because I know we need them. I know how bad the cars are, but at the same time, people are gonna yell at me if I put speed tables on my own street.
You gotta get everybody else.
I gotta get everybody else first.
Safety first.
You did. I know several people put in requests other than me. So if the street has a certain average speed that is, I think, 5 or 6 miles per hour over the posted speed limit, then the city will put speed tables on the street without the council member having to do it with discretionary funding. Mary Ellen?
Okay, so from a regular attendee at Chris Harsh's Ward 4 meeting, all we talk about besides state road repaving is speed tables. And you will hear all the people say how you put the speed table in on Oak Park, now you have the speeders on Portman.
Yeah.
They're just gonna move. And also the complaints from the emergency vehicle, the ambulances, about having to go over the speed tables with people jostling inside and also slowing them down when every second is critical. And I just want to point out that his solution to all of this is to hire the police, that we should be hiring the 200 more police who could start ticketing speeders, and then they would maybe learn to stop speeding. So just maybe. But as he always points out, after being a taxi driver in the flats after 3 U-turns and 3 tickets for U-turns, he stopped doing it. So,
I mean, it'd be great if
just be
if the
forewarned
police
about
had the capacity to enforce traffic.
Yeah. So if you live on the street next to the street that's getting the speed tables, watch out, because the speeders are coming.
Any other questions?
When it comes to property taxes, I would recommend calling your state representatives as well as your state senators. Those are the issues that state legislators vote on and work on behind the scenes. So I wouldn't more so, call your city reps. I would more so call your state senators and your state representatives who work on these issues as their day job when they're in session.
Thank you. Flavian?
Yeah, does, I guess, city council broadly have anything like say so on the HUD consolidation plan that's happening, that's reviewing like CDBG funds? And if so, do you have like any updates, particularly around like community development, like funding for CDCs? And what changes could we expect in this like strategy that's being proposed?
So I am anxiously awaiting an update on CDBG funding and like where things are. I know that the Community Development Department and Aaron Tate Miller is working hard on coming up with a restructuring of the city's CDBG and CDC funding, which is broken to be honest, as you know. But unfortunately, right now I do not have an update. I wish I did. But sorry. Yes. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. It's on the east side. But I am council's.
Can you repeat the question?
About the Jeff Bezos Earth Fund, and it is on the east side. But I'm council's representative on the Urban Forestry Commission. Ward 11 is getting, we are like the pilot for a tree survey, which is interesting. So there's going to be like, you know how Google has the car that goes around and gets the images for Google Maps. So they're going to do that, but for trees. And so we're the first ward. They're doing Ward 11s because since I'm on the tree commission, and it's going to help inform where we need to plant trees, where the canopy needs to be improved, where trees might need to be pruned or better maintained, or if they're dead and need to come down. But I am passionate about trees, and I'm hoping that something more will come of that. Chris?
Do you know if this survey will at all include data on invasive plant species?
I don't know about plants, but I believe it will tell us about tree species. So it should help us identify invasive tree species, like tree of heaven or what's the other, Bradford pear. Like it should be able to identify tree species.
Yeah, that's good.
And?
Could I ask you a question?
I was just going to mention, I know there are some boards that have tree ambassadors that kind of already collect data, and I think there is a database, and so who is doing what you're just
Phil Joubert. So the Division of Urban Forestry is doing it.
Okay.
And we're the pilot, and I believe it's going with the plan that it will eventually be expanded citywide. Yes.
Who's responsible for taking care of the trees, cutting the branches? Because there's a lot of trees on our street, that everything is encroaching on sidewalks. We have a couple of ladies and gentlemen that they're in wheelchairs, and in order for them to get to Madison, they have to go on the street. That's very risky.
Yeah.
But I gotta give you credit because West 80s, they're working already. They're paving the streets.
Oh, good.
They're giving them a facelift. It was about time.
West 80th was really bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
So if it's a tree lawn tree, or if it's a tree in like a city park or a rec center property, then it's the Division of Urban Forestry.
This is in front of the residence.
Then it's the Division of Urban Forestry.
They need to do something because someone's going to get hurt.
And you can also report tree issues like to 311. So that is also something that can be reported to 311. If you have a tree that needs to be pruned, if a tree is dead, or needs attention somehow, you can also report that to 311. Question?
Anything else on 8400 Lake Avenue?
Other than they're not going to be breaking ground this summer, I don't have any other updates.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when the development will happen, but not anytime soon.
Okay.
Eric?
It looks like flock cameras are here to stay. Does that mean anything for our ward?
6 months extension. and they did add some guardrails. So Cleveland Division of Police, they are not sharing with outside agencies. They cut off even the from the Real-Time Crime Center, which is kind of like a county hub of like crime technology. The city also cut off data sharing from that. So the information from plot cameras, which it was previously being shared across the country, we learned back at the beginning of the summer, 86% of the searches of Cleveland's block cameras was being done by the state of Texas. And it's because when you do a search, it searches everywhere. And so Texas does a lot of searches. And so they were, showing up, doing a lot of searches at Cleveland. Cleveland shut that door, but it is a 6-month extension. Cleveland is going to open it up for other vendors to apply.
Just a quick follow-up. Shutting off our sharing with the county, does that have any reciprocal problems in other cities?
It shouldn't. I mean, the police still have the ability to share with departments just like they did before flock cameras existed. You can be on the lookout. You can reach out to the partnering agencies. Flock cameras have not been around that long. I think maybe 2021 was when they were introduced in Cleveland. So it's not technology that I understand it's a useful tool for the police. Personally, I'm sure maybe some of you are aware, I voted no against the flock cameras. I believe they violate your Fourth Amendment right to privacy. I think that information like that, you should need a search warrant if you want to look that up. And so that's my stance. I also had just been made aware right before the vote that there was a Ward 11 resident, an American citizen, who had been detained by ICE on Ridge Road near Dave's Mercado. And he was targeted, I believe, because he owns a landscaping business. I knew this man because he reached out to our office last spring to introduce himself because he's a senior chore provider. He does work for people around the city who can't do things for themselves, disabled, elderly. And so he reached out, way back in March to introduce himself. He called our office again to let us know what happened, that he was detained on his way to work for no other reason than having brown skin and driving down the road. If anybody wants to see it, I'll show you the photos of the ICE agent. He did everything right. He called dispatch when he was pulled over because he didn't know that the people who were pulling him over were actual law enforcement officers. And if you see the pictures, you'll understand. It's like they could have bought their outfit on Amazon. The dispatch told him that unfortunately, it did come back. They were federal agents, but it was very disturbing and frightening to hear that from him, that they are targeting our American citizens, arbitrarily. I take that very seriously, and for that reason, I voted no.
Yep, thanks for sharing that.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the big turnout tonight. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.